नमस्कार फ्रेंड, आप सभी का एक बार फिर से स्वागत है। फ्रेंड्स, बैंक पेंशन अपडेशन के बारे में श्री एन राघवेंद्र राव, रिटायर्ड डीजीएम एसबीआई ने एक एनालिसिस करके लिखा हुआ है, द हिडन बट रियल रीजन फॉर डिले इन पेंशन अपडेशन इन बैंक्स एनालाइज्ड। देयर इज प्रेशर ऑन डीएफएस आईबीए टू रिमूव द मेस क्रिएटेड बाय देमसेल्व्स in the past. There is no provision for pension updation in central government employees pension rules or the pension regulations of RBI or SBI. The Government of India IB originally introduced Regulation 35(1) in public sector banks, pension regulations to provide pension for bank employees who retired during 1986 to October 1987. However, after this section of retirees was provided with pension, the regulation 35(1) was retained in a modified form. Probably this was retained because of the pressure from AIBA and IBA. It appears that DFS has realized in later years that the retention of regulation 35(1) in the different form as it stands now was a blunder committed by DFS IBA in the past. It is clear that Government of India always wanted to keep the issue of pension updation as its own privilege rather than treating it as a right of pensioners. The retention of Regulation 35(1) in an amended form landed the DFS IBA in a soup because this regulation has become a tool for pensioner to demand pension updation as their right. The right to pension is certainly implied in the new version of Regulation 35(1). DFS and IB are unable to extricate themselves from the mess they created for themselves. The regulation has become a subject matter for litigation. Second, undoubtedly, the Finance Minister, Madam Nirmala Sitharaman, is in favor of pension updation. DFS might have liked to agree for the pension updation in view of the Finance Minister's expression about the pension updation in no uncertain language, but they could not do anything in the matter as the government does not accept the view that the pension updation is the right of pensioners. Government has always desired to reduce the expenses on pensions in the organized sector, and hence it was in no mood to agree for public pension updation in banks. In fact, it was only with this intention that the Government of India introduced the new pension scheme for government employees as well as bank retirees in the past 2 decades. Third point, if the circumstances had favored, the Government of India would have tried to amend the Regulation 35(1) or even remove it altogether to reflect its real intentions, but it found it impossible to do so because bank pensioners have already used the regulation as a lever for pension updation, and even EOB have included pension updation as an item in their charter of demands under pressure from the pensioners. A few pensioners also went to court for pension updation. Fourth point, while the Government of India was thus in a predicament, RBI retirees got pension updation with the help of RBI working staff unions through their flight with RBI management, Government of India, and the later through court. With this development, the demand for pension updation in banks grew even stronger. As the government does not want to concede pension updation as pensioners' right, DFS was in a fix, not knowing how to proceed further. DFS appears to have decided that the government should not announce pension updation in banks on its own, but it should be left to be sorted out between IBA and UFU through bipartite settlement mechanism. But even if this is done, the issue of the Regulation 35(1) would still continue to exist. Government of India does not want to give an impression to pensioner that Government of India is working against pensioners. MC Singla's case in Supreme Court has come as a convenient tool for Government of India to overcome the mess created by Regulation 35(1) in these circumstances. DFS seems to have decided that it is wise to address the issue of interpretation of Regulation 35(1) to reflect government's views through the Supreme Court's intervention and thus come out of the cesspool in which DFS IBA find themselves today. Fifth point, the real intention behind the appointment of the MP Thangiranja Committee on Interdepartmental Secretaries to address certain issues in SBI appears to be that the Government of India is serious about resolving the issue of pension updation for all banks, including SBI, once and for all. It is with this end in view that SBI and IBA were also included in the committee. As expected, the committee left the issue of pension updation in SBI unaddressed on the plea that the pension updation is an industry common issue and left the matter to be tackled through IBA. It appears that Government of India has graciously decided that IBA must address the question of the updation of pension with every salary revision as an issue of settlement between IBA and UFBU. 6 point, the deep mess created by DFS and IBA in the past in regard to the pension updation may thus be removed. 7th point, it is expected that the Government of India might plead before the Supreme Court that IBA is now examining the question of pension updation seriously in favor of pensioner and also pray that the court must uphold the views of the Government of India on the interpretation of Regulation 35(1) as valid and reject the petitioner's plea. 8 point, the thorn in the side of DFS and IBA will thus be removed by sanctifying the views of DFS IBA that the Regulation 35(1) does not support pension updation, but that it is relevant only to revision of pension due to other reasons and in different circumstances. Thereafter, DFS might even think of amending the regulation to suit its purpose. Sri N. Raghavendra Rao Garu, retired DGM, SBI, Hyderabad, 25 जून. फ्रेंड्स, हमारे रिटायर्ड एसबीआई के डीजीएम साहब ने इसको वेरी वेल एक्सप्लेन्ड और एग्जामिन किया है और इन सब बातों से लगता है कि डीएफएस का भी मूड है पेंशन अपडेशन के फेवर में जाने का और इंटरप्रिटेशन ऑफ 35 रेगुलेशन 35(1) को. सो दे विल कम थ्रू द कोर्ट. थैंक यू फ्रेंड्स. नमस्ते.